And hello for the third time today, folks. I'm meteorologist Tom Kvika with a weather update for you. Still unsettled here in CenLa. Pretty heavy thunderstorm at my house a little while ago with some frequent lightning. Not terrible cloud to ground lightning, but there were a few close strikes with loud thunder with them. 64 degrees, rain cooled out at AEX right now. Dew point is down also at 61. That will stabilize things for us, at least for a little bit. And in Gina, 69 degrees. You can see rain in actually happening as we see the tower cam there, reducing the visibility. Remember, this tower cam is higher than the one in Alexandria, so a little higher off the ground. And so we see a little bit more of that fog and reduced visibility. Looking at the radar, we move over here, we see an area of rain and storms coming through much of central East Texas all the way into Louisiana. Now the whole system is kind of moving almost due northward, but the individual cells are pushing off to the north-northeast. So with this motion, we kind of see a net kind of a north-northeast movement with this. We're not seeing too much happening down to the south. There's one other little cluster moving through the Golden Triangle, indicating that there's probably a little break here, and then we'll get back in convection down in that area. But for the most part, this is the main guy. Right here you see some lightning, and so far the convection has been pretty ordinary here. Been a couple of warnings off to the west. There was a tornado warning north of Houston, in fact north of Conroe earlier in the afternoon. But again, things have kind of stabilized right now. Put the alerts on. That tornado watch does continue until 7 o'clock, and we see some special alerts there across portions of East Texas. Nothing here in central Louisiana. And of course, we'll continue to monitor things. But these are your radar trends, and I think right now the convection is holding ordinary instead of severe because of two limiting factors. I think the lift is weak in the atmosphere, as well as the instability, and the deep layer vertical shear is not as strong as it is farther to the west, where we had some of those warnings out already. But we will continue to watch this. We may see a heavier rainfall threat materialize, especially in our northern parishes and on up toward I-20 there, and that corridor from North Louisiana, maybe into Northeast Texas for a while later on this evening. Satellite and radar continuing to track things for you. I did want to show you this, and I showed you this in the earlier updates. Look how quickly this really ramped up there. I think that is probably a little shortwave piece of energy which has kind of rippled through the atmosphere, and you see this little convective complex erupting with that, and thankfully it stayed non-severe so far, at least for the most part, and certainly here in CenLa. But the potential does remain for the remainder of the evening. Although remember, with one convective system ongoing and temperatures cooling a bit, we will see a little stabilization with that. So I'm going to go through this with you again, outlook by outlook. These are the threats. Overall, this is a limited threat continuing for the remainder of the evening into the 7 o'clock Tuesday morning. So all this is valid. This is severe outlook number one, we'll call it. Overall, it is a limited threat, 1, 2 on a scale of 5 that SPC uses. I just used 3 scales here. The flood threat right now is fairly low because the rainfall totals haven't been too great today. I've kind of scanned totals from one of my weather networks, and nobody's over an inch so far. Of course, it could have missed that, but I think it does have some truth in it that the rain hasn't been extremely heavy over long duration so far. Wind and hail remain a risk, a greater risk in tornadoes, despite the fact that a tornado watch is out. Even when those are called tornado watches, the number of hail or wind reports is usually expected to be higher than that, though. And then as far as severe weather, this is for Monday only. This is the first one through Tuesday morning. Scope and severity will be limited so far. It's been that way. All modes of severe weather are possible, hence the tornado watch that SPC put out several hours ago. The wind and hail, about a 5 to 15% risk, 2 to 5% for tornadoes, and some enhanced hail potential for part of Louisiana, central Louisiana there, especially I think that will be limited to northeast Texas and northwest Louisiana, where it's more unstable and the deep vertical wind shear is stronger, which gives a stronger environment, a more favorable environment for severe weather up in that area. Severe outlook for tomorrow. This is outlook 2. So remember, this enhanced area now has been worked into our location here in Carson Ports to include portions of central Louisiana. Now, this is a level 3 from the Storm Prediction Center. It's surrounded by a level 2, and then eventually a level 1 there. So let's get into some particulars here. Now it goes into my significant category, with it being a level 3. The flood risk increases as rainfall totals, I think, will increase out of this as time goes on. Wind is still pretty close to the upper limit of the limited, but hail and even tornado potential can't be ruled out there for tomorrow, according to the Storm Prediction Center. So the scope and severity will increase for that time period from 7 a.m. Tuesday to 7 a.m. Wednesday. So this is number 2. All modes of severe weather remain possible, but at a higher percentage. Hail and wind 15 to 30% now. Tornado risk 5 to 10%, and the enhanced hail and tornado risk is now up to 10%. And none of this has changed since I updated you earlier this afternoon or this morning. So again, all that remains the same according to the Storm Prediction Center, and we're going to continue to go with that. Now, number 3, the last day of it will be Wednesday. This is after 7 a.m. Wednesday, still in that enhanced level 3 risk, surrounded by a level 2 for all of Central Louisiana, so a level 2 to 3. So I'm going to go with this, indicating that it will be a significant threat in some portions of Central Louisiana. Others will be below that line. The flooding potential remains. The wind and hail and tornado, any of those could be enhanced events during this final threat with that enhanced rating from the Storm Prediction Center. And so from 7 a.m. on through Wednesday, after 7 a.m. Wednesday, the scope and severity could remain significant. All modes remain possible. The risk of a severe event may be up to 30%, 15 to 30%, and some enhanced severe events will be possible. And again, that means that when we talk about enhanced hail or significant hail, that is over golf ball size. For wind, enhanced or significant wind threat would be 75 miles per hour or higher, hurricane force. And then enhanced tornadoes or significant tornadoes start at EF2, which is around 110 miles per hour wind. And of course, we will see that that goes up, remember, to 3, 4, and 5. But so that's kind of a breakdown what those we'll use those terms, enhanced and significant. All right, going into your rainfall aspect of this is kind of a quick graphic I put together. This is additional rainfall expected. What we get here later, after I update things here in a couple of minutes when I finish, what kind of rain is going to fall afterwards, later tonight, tomorrow, and into Wednesday. Well, everybody's going to get wet, so the rain is not over with for you. You're going to get some more, probably more than you'll want. 100% chance of you getting wet during that time frame. So now through Wednesday night, common amounts will be 1 to 4 inches. Remember, that's the additional part of this. It doesn't include what we had earlier today or yesterday in some locations. The peak amounts right now look to me like 6 to 8 inches. Some models are saying a little bit more, some less. I have my own methods to do this. I've been doing this a long time here in this part of the world. And so putting all that together, I'm comfortable with a 1 to 4, what I call general or common, and a 6 to 8 potential in the books there for the peak amounts. All right, 7-day forecast. As promised, I did get it done. Very high rainfall coverages continuing into Tuesday and Wednesday. Severe threats. We've outlined that flooding threat. Both river and flash flooding on the table with this particular situation. Again, depending on how the rainfall falls and how much and that kind of thing. So anytime you get this magnitude of rain, you're probably going to have some flooding issues on the Calcasieu River, if nothing else. Going into the frontal passages, we got one coming in at a Wednesday, Thursday time frame. It's going to be windy behind that front on Thursday. We'll see a little bit of a cooling trend, especially at night. In the morning, 45. Friday morning, 49 for Saturday morning. And then going into the remainder of the forecast, looks like a pretty good weekend coming up for us as a second front will kind of reinforce things in that Thursday, Friday time frame and really drive out the clouds and bring in some dry air for us, which we're going to need by then. And it's Sunday, Monday looking pretty good, but a warming trend will become established during that time frame as well. Probably maybe warming up in advance of another weather maker or another chance of some rain or thunderstorms after Monday. So we'll check that out on another day. All right, thanks for being with me. And I think Mick Mikolas is going to be back with you in the morning, which will be a treat. And I'll be back with you probably sometime during the PM hours, and we'll be off and on depending on what the demands are from any warnings that may occur for weather tomorrow. All right, thanks for being with me.